So as we get to personalization in that customer experience, I understand that there may be even three levels around personalization and how it can be executed. Can you give some insight into that approach and that dynamic?
Yeah, so personalization really needs to come from our customer access strategy. Who are and to get away from the broad brushstrokes you just described, which are we know they're not going to work for everybody. So who are our customers, and get as granular as you need to about who they are and what their needs would be. And then if you really focus on intake in a contact center, like authentication, identifying who that customer is, the sky's the limit. So just to use a simple example, I fly a couple of airlines a lot. They both answer me by, it's a system, answer me by name. One is Brad and the other is Bradley. Bradley makes me feel like I'm in trouble, but so I like Brad a little better. But it's pretty cool. They can pull up my information, my itineraries, get me to a person that would an agent group that would make sense, offer channels that would make sense, self-service options. If we know who the customer is, we can be as proactive as we need to about next steps. So there's that, and there's just there's different levels, different ways to define how to personalize, but it should all flow from the customer access strategy. Who are our customers, and what needs do they have? It's not in rocket science, to use the cliche. If we know if a customer were to walk in, just you were to walk into my organization right now, hey, how's it going, Christian? That would lead us to something that makes sense. If a customer were to walk into your organization right now, and they need to file a claim, they need information on something that's broken, they're confused on a self-service option, they want to buy something, how would you treat them? That's customer access, and that lends itself to personalization and how we would listen to the voice of the customer and everything else that falls under that.
I love the fact that you said Brad versus Bradley, and you're like, Bradley, I feel like I got in trouble. Brad feels like I know the person, and so on and so forth. And I'm starting to see certain brands that I interact with. When you complete your profile, there's a preferred name section,
Yeah.
right? And for them to actually translate the preferred name, assuming it gets filled out, right, in the right way, I think can accomplish a lot of what you're talking about, is that you create that more familiar interaction, and it diffuses it a little bit where it's like, hey, I'm a friend, I'm here to help. Let's see what we can do together. Let's engage. Versus, if it's overly formal, and I'm not saying there's times when you shouldn't be formal, but if you know your customer, that kind of leads to that other pieces. What does it mean to know your customer, right?
Yeah.
Companies will say, well, knowing my customer knows I know this, their age, their name, their address, I know these very transactional things. But then you take it a step further and say, knowing my customer may be how often they buy, what they buy, whether they return things, how do they engage with me? Do they engage in happy things via social media and upset things via a phone call? What is it that they do, and what does that journey look like? And being able to do it from cradle to grave, or obviously, hopefully not grave if they're, reoccurring revenue or some other lifetime value attribute you want to get to someone that wants to keep buying from you. Being able to go in there and see what it is that the changes you've made, if it actually impacts that journey for them, and if you really are making it personal. So asking your customers, probably pretty darn important. It sounds like you've done a lot about that. Any
Well,
thoughts around?
how you just describe that is perfect. I mean, there's a lot of wisdom in all the variables you just mentioned, and how we really would best understand our customers beyond the transactional information. So yeah, very much what you just described, and it's fun to do that. How do we get to know our customers better? This is a fun part of customer service, because it really does lend it prepare us to serve them where they need to be served, and to connect as we can.
Well, I think then that becomes really the basis of the old thought of a contact center is really a cost center. It's just a cost of doing business. But then when you can leverage everything you've just stated that you put in your books and you educate people on, then you can stop looking at it as a cost center and start looking at it as, any other thing that improves revenue, increases customer satisfaction, everything from lifetime value and so on and so forth. Because then in the end, when you look at it from that perspective, it is fun. It is fun. It's not just this checkbox. It's like, yep, I've filled out the thing and I know my customers. Like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Because then
Right.
you wouldn't have all the things that maybe people say are improvements or complaints, unfortunately, if you have, issues with that.